Have you ever truly stopped to think about why we spend so much of our lives waiting? It's this strange, almost childlike feeling, a quiet whisper in the back of your mind, suggesting that somewhere, just around the corner of fate, there's an adult, a genius, a someone who will finally step in and fix everything. We wake up with this hope, we go to sleep with it, and we don't even realize it's there. It's the background noise of our psyche. We're waiting for a savior to walk through the door and say, "Listen, I see how hard you've been working. I see your hidden potential. Here is your big break. Here is the money, the perfect body, and the happiness you deserve. But let me be the cold shower you desperately need right now." Listen closely. Nobody is coming. It is staggering how simple and yet how utterly devastating that truth is. The doors to your dream life aren't going to fly open because of some magical gust of wind. Your phone isn't going to ring with the offer of a lifetime unless you've spent years building the foundation for that call. It's hard to believe, but the world is actually so consumed with its own chaos that your survival, your triumph, or your total collapse is, honestly, your own private business. I believe we've coddled ourselves for too long with fairy tales about destiny and the right time. But the truth is, the universe doesn't recognize fairness. It only understands the language of cause and effect. You can spend your entire existence in the waiting room of life, staring at a door that will never open from the outside. To me, that is the greatest tragedy imaginable. A person with a massive heart and brilliant ideas who simply waited for permission to exist. Let me tell you right now, you don't need permission. You don't need a savior. Because once you accept that no one is coming to rescue you, you finally realize that the keys to your own prison have been in your hands the whole time. It constantly baffles me how easily we get hooked on the drug of complaining. It's so seductive, isn't it? Sitting around with friends, explaining in detail why you aren't where you wanted to be. It feels good to blame the economy, the political climate, or the fact that your parents didn't set you up for success. I see this every single day, and frankly, it's heartbreaking. We've turned our own helplessness into a performance. Look at how much I'm struggling. Therefore, I have a valid reason to do nothing. It's a trap, my friend. A deep, slippery pit with no exit, as long as you're holding that microphone and screaming about unfairness. I believe that complaining about the government or the system is like screaming at a thunderstorm. You can get soaked to the bone. You can curse the clouds. You can demand an apology from the sky. But the rain doesn't care. It's indifferent. The system is the same way. When you blame someone else, you are literally saying, "This person or this circumstance has total authority over my mood, my bank account, and my destiny." You are choosing to be a victim. This victim mentality is a voluntary disability of the will. It's hard to believe, but many of us choose to be miserable just to avoid the weight of responsibility. Because responsibility is heavy. It means that if your life is in the gutter, you're the one who drove it there. That admission hurts, but I'm telling you, it's the only pain that leads to growth. The moment you stop looking for a villain, you unlock a massive amount of energy. The energy you use to waste on anger can now be invested in your own resurrection. Imagine what you could do if you stopped looking back to see who owes you a debt and started looking forward at what you can build. Everyone talks about success, but nobody wants to talk about the price of admission. Radical responsibility. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a concept that sounds like a death sentence at first. but it becomes your greatest superpower. I'm convinced this is the only way to reach true maturity. It's when you take 100% ownership of everything: your thoughts, your health, your bank balance, and your relationships. Even for the things you can't control, you take responsibility for how you respond to them. It's amazing how your posture changes when you accept this. You stop begging for crumbs and start hunting for the feast. You stop hoping for a lucky break and start building a fortress. What I love about radical responsibility is that it makes you dangerous. It makes you unstoppable. Because if everything depends on you, then no one can take your power away. I believe most people run from this because they fear the loneliness of the top. When you take full responsibility, there's no one left to blame when things go wrong. There is no plan B, where the bad boss or bad luck is the reason you failed. It's just you and your results. It's a brutal game, but it's the only honest one. It's hard to believe, but within that terrifying weight of ownership lies your total freedom. You are no longer a pawn. You are the player. It doesn't matter what cards you were dealt. What matters is how you play the hand you have right now. Let's talk about the aftermath. You've accepted responsibility. You've stopped the complaining. And the world stays quiet. No one cheers for you. The sky doesn't open up. In fact, it might feel lonelier than ever. I believe this silence is the ultimate test of your character. Most people quit here. They take a few steps, look around for applause, and when they hear nothing but the wind, they retreat. They go back to the safety of the crowd, back to the swamp of shared excuses, because at least there, people listen to your stories. But if you seek validation from the crowd, you will always be limited by the crowd's speed. And the crowd is almost always standing still. It's hard to believe, but every empire, every masterpiece, and every great life started in total isolation. It started when one person realized that their vision wouldn't be supported until it was finished. You have to become your own source of heat. Don't wait for external motivation. It's a cheap, flickering candle. You need discipline, the cold, hard steel that keeps you moving when you're exhausted and when the world feels indifferent. This is radical responsibility in action. It's the daily choice not to betray your own potential while the rest of the world is still sleeping. Visualize a scene 10 years from today. You are standing in front of a mirror. Who is looking back? Is it someone with bitter, resentful eyes who has a perfectly logical explanation for why they failed? Someone who can list every person who did them wrong and every circumstance that held them back? Or is it someone who looks at themselves with a quiet, unshakable respect? Someone who knows that every gray hair and every scar was earned in a battle they fought and won, mostly against themselves. I believe the most agonizing punishment at the end of a life is to meet the person you could have been if you hadn't been so afraid of taking the wheel. Think about that person. They had the same parents, the same economy, the same struggles, but they didn't wait for a hero. They didn't waste years being angry at the world. They just did the work. Every single day. Without an audience. Without a savior. How does it feel to look at that version of yourself? It's staggering how much we can regret the time we spent waiting. But here's the good news. That mirror hasn't happened yet. You can still change the image. Right now. At this very moment. You can decide that nobody is coming isn't a tragedy. It's your greatest liberation. You are free from the expectations of others. You are free from the scripts they wrote for you. You are the captain of this ship. And even if it's currently taking on water, you are the only one who can steer it to shore. So what happens when this video ends? I don't want you to just click away and fall back into the trance of scrolling. That would be just another way of avoiding your life. If these words made you uncomfortable, if they made your heart race, it's because you know I'm telling you the truth. You know that the person you've been waiting for is staring back at you in the mirror every morning. It's hard to believe, but life is far too short to spend it as a spectator in your own journey. Stop waiting for the world to be fair. Start making the world deal with you. Start small, but for heaven's sake, start today. Do one thing, just one, that makes your tomorrow fundamentally different from your today. Remember, nobody is coming to save you, and that is the most glorious news you will ever receive, because it means that everything you achieve, everything you build, and every victory you win will belong entirely to you. Your pride will be earned. Your life will be yours. Get up. Your time didn't start years ago, and it doesn't start tomorrow. It starts the second you decide to be your own hero. Now go get to work.